Today, I've got somebody who created a multiple seven-figure company in less than a year from starting in the golf space, which is a really difficult space to break through when you're talking about all these companies that have been around for decades or even 100 years, and they're absolutely changing the game, and they most notably gain steam because Bryson DeChambeau has been using their irons, winning events, winning majors. Tom Bailey. What's up, man?
How we doing?
Hey, dude, I am a golf nut. And, I had the founder of Crank on recently. And, we talked a lot about technology, but I also find that your guys' rise in like just the year and a half since the founding has been amazing. And I think so many of the things you guys are doing is innovative, not just for the golf industry, but like business-wise too. So I'm excited to hear about how you guys even started a golf company, the process of all this, because I know you guys 3D print your clubs too, which is really unique. And you're just getting so much traction now with Bryson having so much success.
For sure.
Like, how did all this happen?
Truth is, it was one big accident. This was a pursuit of me just trying to get better at golf. That led me into the coaching space, really looking at ways to help golfers get better, led me into equipment side of things. I was hand-making clubs for a few years for myself to get better, and then I had some clients who wanted that as well. It got to a point where I'm busy hand-grinding clubs 7 days a week. As much as it was cool, it wasn't what I want to be doing with my time. So I kind of reconnected with my brother after a couple of years of not really communicating. We were off doing business things in other places and hadn't really spoken much. And he says, well, why don't we make our own golf clubs so you don't have to hand make them all the time? I was like, okay, let's do it.
How are you even hand making them? Like, do I imagine you like melting a club and like, like
quite.
in the movies?
So we just get a load of raw forgings in. So they're forgings that are grooved, but they're completely blank heads. They're way overweight. And then you got to turn a bench grind on and you bring them down to the weight you want, create the shapes you want. So I was hand making golf clubs from that point on a bench grind.
That's crazy. I want to get into like why you had to do that, like what was wrong with the clubs, but then I'm going to like jump into a technical whole different thing.
We'll circle back.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. But so you're a coach, you're just making money as a golf coach, just doing one-on-one lessons.
Yep.
I've had other golf coaches on, like Chris Como, who's been Tiger's coach and even Bryson's coach. And him and I talked about it too. And this is the problem with any business, like scalability.
Yeah.
Right? Like scaling being a coach is really hard, especially in sports where it's like, it's so hands-on.
100%.
So you just kind of realize that as a coach, like however long you're doing it, like this is just not really scalable.
Yeah, the realizing how to scale the coaching business, that part was an accident. What I was doing to help players get better, that's kind of what led into that. So at the foundation of everything in the game of golf, the golf club is the number one training aid. So when we figured out that if we got that right for the player, they could get a lot better at golf a lot quicker. All of a sudden, you're helping golfers get better a lot quicker. They don't need to see you as often, but all their friends want to get better as well. So now all of a sudden, you have them coming in for lessons, them buying equipment. Next thing you know, you're not just a hour by hour, working 7 days a week, 10 hours a day coaching. You have something else to offer.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you are able to work kind of half the time, but still create the same amount of revenue, if not a little bit more.
Yeah.
And that's what started happening for me as a coach. One thing led to the next, and we started selling a lot more golf clubs. And now I don't do as much coaching anymore.
In my business, we call that upsells and lifetime value. It's like you're doing a great job with one client, just coaching them, and then how do we increase lifetime value? We sell them stuff, we sell them clubs, we sell them whatever other products they'll need, and then they give us referrals, and like it just keeps scaling and growing.
100%. And what really helps in that is when the equipment actually truly helps them get better, and that's the unique approach we're taking at this.
Yeah. So obviously you had years of just like making clubs for your clients. How did this all come about with Bryson and then like making it official?
For sure. Yeah. So that's where a big shout out is due to Mike Shy. So Mike Shy has been Bryson's coach for the last few decades in terms of he's the guy behind the scenes that's making things happen. He created an academy out in Fresno. That's where Bryson grew up playing. Mike's been kind of his mentor alongside him for a long time. It was Mike that connected me with Bryson. When I'd been out at his academy, I'd got to know him over a couple of year period. We knew that he wasn't satisfied with his irons, and that was exposed by how good he got with his driver when he put the new crank driver in play.
Yeah.
And he realized he had a problem with the irons as well. So I was around when he's always asking Mike, hey, we need to get new golf clubs, we need to get new irons, we've got to figure this out. And at that time, I had actually started developing my own golf clubs, like actual prototypes of our sets we now sell. And I hadn't mentioned to Mike I was doing it. I wanted to make sure we had it dialed in before I showed him.
Yeah.
And then when I realized we had something good and we were happy with our manufacturing processes and we were happy with everything we were doing, I said, hey, Mike, I'm making golf clubs. The first thing he says is, let's make clubs for Bryson.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I mean, that's a pretty big opportunity, but I'm not quite sure that's where we're at right now.
Yeah, like I don't even think we're approved or anything yet. Like, how are we going to do this?
So he'd mentioned it, and yeah, we got going on that. It was a pretty unique set of golf clubs we had to build. And we started that project around September, October on late 23. And this is right around the time we were finalizing our own prototypes for our other sets.
Yeah.
So actually the only set that we did 3D print was the ones for Bryson. And that was for rapid prototyping.
Yeah.
Everything else we do is a carbon steel forging.
Got it.
So we do complete forgings on those and then CNC to finish on them. And we have some full CNC products as well. But the 3D printed ones were specifically for rapid prototyping Bryson's golf clubs. We had a very short time frame to create golf clubs in. And that was the fastest process to build something, test it, build something, test it.
So you just kept reiterating. He'd be like, hey, I like this. I don't like that. And then you just kind of protected it.
We did 2 demo or kind of 2 test clubs for him in October, November. He liked them. He said, let's go ahead and make a full set of these. So we made him a full set for late January 24. He put them in place, started testing them, really liked them. Didn't end up putting them in tournament at that point. There's still some things we needed to improve on. So we spent that kind of February and early March making the final adjustments to them. Or at the time, we didn't know those would be the final adjustments. We thought we were just getting another round of prototypes going.
Yeah.
And it turns out we got that one right, and that's the set he's been using ever since.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. So, you get one of the most famous golfers in the world, if not the most famous now with YouTube and everything else. And this guy's using some no-name coaches clubs. I don't want to say no-name coach, but like you didn't have any clubs. You don't have a brand with all this stuff, right? You weren't coaching any. Were you coaching any PGA guys at that point?
Not any PGA guys, no. I've done a bit of stuff on European Tour side and over in the UK with mini tour players, but nothing out in the States.
So I mean, like he took a chance based on, like really your, like just the product itself. Like it had to be that good for him to be like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna give this a chance, and I'm gonna actually work with this guy for months to perfect it and help him build the product. And so, you build the product, and he wins a major.
That helps.
Like, how quickly did that happen?
So when we were kind of finishing off our prototyping, that's when we started doing things to him. So at that point, we'd already got ready to do our first batch release of our clubs. So the initial objective for us was to sell 50 sets a year. And that was going to help fund a bit of my own playing, a bit of extra money on the side. And when we started making clubs for him, we're thinking we might end up selling a few more here if he plays these. But we're also telling ourselves at the same time, there's no way he's going to be using these golf clubs.
Isn't that funny that, like, your goal was so low?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs operate that way. I remember for me, I flipped now 700 plus homes in my life. But I remember when I first started, I flipped a house and I was like, dude, if I could flip like 4 a year, that's $100,000. Like, I'm going to be good. And, I came from the pro baseball world where I was in the minor leagues grinding it out, and I just had to figure out how to pay my way to just keep playing. So, like, I know the minor league golf grind is really hard too. You got to pay your way. You got to get into tournaments. You got to fund yourself. And so I was doing the same thing, 15 years ago and looking for side hustles to do it. So I understand where your mindset was of, 50 sets, that gets me what I need to do my career, do what I got to do. And then you just get this one opportunity that changes the whole dynamic.
100%. I think that's what's given us the best opportunity in this wasn't about making money. This was about making better golf clubs.
Yeah.
So for us, it was make some better golf clubs, help some people out, and make a little bit of money from that. But it wasn't about building a business that was putting our lives in the position it is now and giving us this opportunity. It was make some better golf clubs to help a few golfers get better.
Yeah.
And because that was the foundation of everything we're doing. We're keeping that as the foundation. We don't make a golf club if it already exists, and we won't make a golf club that doesn't help people actually get better at golf. So if we keep that a foundation of everything, we can help golfers get better. The business is only going to grow from there. Yeah,
I know that was the story with Crank too. I mean, he was a user looking for a better club, a better head. And, he built it for himself and how to do it. And it's like your guys' stories are very similar in that way. So with that, right, Bryson wins. What was the demand like?
It's crazy. Yeah. Put us on the map very, very quickly.
Can you say how many you guys sold?
I wouldn't even know the number. It's in the thousands. So
you went from 50 sets to thousands of sets.
Yeah.
did you produce them? How did you go from that expectation to now?
With a few good people pressing some buttons pretty quickly. So with the Masters exposure, we knew that it was going to bring a pretty heavy demand. So we kind of pre-anticipated the demand that would come. We didn't anticipate the demand that would come off the back of winning a major, but we weren't that far off of it. So we were kind of pretty in a position to handle it pretty well.
That's good.
We, looking back, obviously, in hindsight, we could have done a lot more than we did to prepare for it, but I don't think many people are expecting in their first year as a golf company to win a major.
How many employees did you have?
At that point, it wasn't really a case of employees. It was a case of, hey, look, we got a bunch of stuff that he's doing here. Who wants to jump in and help out?
Yeah, so it was you.
Yeah, it was myself and my brother and a few close friends around us that were willing to jump in and help out. Yeah. And then last year was scramble to make the most of the opportunity. This year is about building the foundations of a business that we can move on from here.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you end up going from 50 sets to thousands of sets. Bryson wins. You're now being looked at not as a golf coach at this point. You're looking at as like a golf club founder.
Yeah.
And now you got to actually like learn how to maybe run a business.
Yeah.
And
learning.
Deal with marketing and hiring people and like, cause it's different. I mean, I used to coach baseball and it's like, yeah, I know baseball. You know golf. We know the swing. We know the equipment and like, dude, we want to help people get better. But now you're like, how do I hire people? How do I do manufacturing? How do I deal with the supply chain? Like even right now, right? I mean, we have all this tariff drama going on. Has that affected you guys at all?
We've managed to handle that pretty well. I think where we're a smaller business, it's given us a unique position that it didn't affect us too badly. But we are making sure that if anything were to continue from there as we grow, that we can handle it.
Yeah. Have you? I put out a reel the other day talking about what I think is going to happen. But my thing was like, yeah, the percentages are the thing, and obviously like them being at like 130%, whatever it was, that wasn't going to be sustainable, and now they're less. But my thing was, it's going to scare businesses into just not being in China at all. Is that how you guys feel? Like, what's your guys' plan?
We're just learning every day.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are so new with manufacturing too.
The reality is, out of everything that we've got going on right now, that one's not one of the fundamental priorities for us to be dealing with. We're trying to build the foundations of a business that we can scale from here. So it's a good time for all of that to happen because we're figuring things out as we go anyway.
Yeah. So you're already building for what you think will last.
Yeah, we're trying to build a business for the future right now. So these are all questions we're trying to answer.
Okay. So last year's like your guys' first full year in business. I mean, you founded at the end of 2023. You have a full year of business. You guys sell thousands and thousands of clubs. What were some of the problems that you had to experience along the way?
Being able to just be resilient and put in days longer than the hours of the day that are available to do work. Bringing people in, like, again, we grabbed everyone around us and said, hey, there's jobs to do if you want to do this, do this. Now it's trying to make sure that we have all the right people to build the foundations of this and grow this further. I think we found very quickly that we outgrew a certain few people that were key in the beginning to help us, and that we're really grateful for them jumping in and helping out when we need to. But the pace the business has grown at has outgrown some of their abilities at the point we're at right now.
Yeah.
So that's been the toughest part. I mean, in most businesses, and I'm listening to as many possible business podcasts, business books, reading as much, and the number one thing that sits in the center of all of that is the people. Oh yeah,
yeah. You got to have A players. You got to have good culture. Everybody's got to be aligned in the mission. Everybody has to, have the same core values. You had mentioned that when you walked around my office, like core values. Like I'm learning about 100%. That.
Yeah. So we've been recommended the Entrepreneur Operating Systems (EOS) by so many different people from different businesses and backgrounds that didn't know each other. We thought, okay, we better pay attention to this, and that's what we created the foundations of our business around their systems and how they operate. And it's made us take the emotion out of the decisions we're making. It's a playbook for growing a business.
Yeah.
And it's been tough for us because some of it in there does seem quite harsh things to do, difficult decisions to make. And it definitely wouldn't be what our first instincts to do would be, but the rewards and the benefits of applying the learnings from that have helped us a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember when I had to first learn that, I was flipping houses. I had flipped probably at that point 70, 80 houses with no operating system. Just me and a buddy just slinging houses, doing things. And then I remember I finally got to the point where I was like, this is chaos. You know, I had started hiring people. I think we had 8 employees then at that point. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. I've never been taught corporate structure. I've never been taught SOPs and any of this stuff. And so I brought in a coach who helped implement it. And he's actually still a coach today for me, you know, 6 years later. Just because like now it's like, I think we have over 50 employees. And so you got to just keep always staying on top of it.
Yeah, 100%. We've definitely reached out to people, learned from people. You know, we've brought in dozens of people to consult on different parts of the business and what to do. So we realized pretty early on that we can learn quick and we can handle a lot of things, but it's better to ask some people who have done it already and get some advice that we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
So that's been one of the biggest things for us, is just getting advice from people who have done it.
Yeah. So, you know, last year you guys are just going through this process of building a company and learning. What has this year been like? What's been the focus now in year 2?
It was getting an extremely clear picture of what we wanted to achieve as a business, what our purpose here is, what we're trying to do. Last year was take advantage of the opportunity we had to set our foundations and get the name out there, let people know we exist. But it wasn't really clear on what are we trying to do, because the initial plan wasn't around selling lots and lots of golf clubs. And the foundation of everything for us was helping golfers get better. So we needed to be clear on the mission of what are we trying to do, and that is help golfers get better.
Yeah.
And from a coaching background and knowing the struggles of being a coach and the challenges in that industry, we wanted to bring something that can help. At the core of the whole entire industry is the coaches that help people get better at golf. So if we can provide them with extra tools to help scale their businesses, extra systems to help them be better coaches, that's a huge part of the industry that we really want to help with.
Yeah. I actually want to talk about that because it seems like now you're attacking this industry from 2 different points, right? You're going after coaches and figuring out how to get them on your side and help them. And then you're going after players, which, you know, clearly is going to be from the equipment, but then also you might have this whole database of coaches now that can mesh the 2 together. The way that I actually got introduced to your company was from Max Milet, who had told me about your guys' stuff. And I had heard about you before just because of Bryson, but, you know, Max's dad, Ed, has been on the show, and, you know, him and I are friends. And I was like, dude, like, I've seen the clubs. Like, I want to see what they're all about. And so he came out to Vegas a couple of weeks ago, and, you know, we did the fitting, and I thought the fitting was really cool. And he's like, yeah, you know, part of our thing is we're going to like scale fitting everywhere so that not only can people, you know, get access to our clubs and everything else at any moment, but it's a way for all these coaches to be able to go make money on the side as well. Yeah, tell me about that.
Sure. That's part of it, is sharing what allowed me to scale my business as a coach and bring in extra opportunities. So part of getting coaches on board with what we're doing is just sharing what it did for my business, giving me extra opportunities to make some more money, help more players in ways that we're not told as coaches that we can usually do that.
Yeah. So how does it work for these coaches? Because like you got one of these fitting systems right here, and we can cut it right here, just so you guys, Tiffany, make note. They can just film him showing it to us, like B-roll, and then we can just keep talking.
And you've got some B-roll as well. You can share if needed.
Yeah. So we'll just B-roll it. But yeah, like I watched Max use this kit. It was really cool. Like he only had like, you know, a few shafts in there, and then he had all the heads, and you twist it on, and we were testing out these different heads, these different weighted shafts, and different lie angles. And I was like, oh, this is like really slick. Like I've never seen or been fitted this way. Usually you need like a truck
there you go.
Of stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So we wanted to put together a system that, you know, fitters and coaches can help players get better without having to invest tens of thousands into studios to do it.
Yeah.
Having a full facility set up. Most coaches operate on the range. You know, they take their gear out to the range, they work on the driving range, they help players on the driving range. A lot of them don't have the ability to set up facilities. A lot of those places aren't going to be able to set them up on the driving ranges. It saves them having to go and set up a whole separate part of their business to offer these services. The way we put the systems together, it's a very much a player-led, coach, fitter, guided system that exposes players to all variables instead of just saying, here's what we think you need. We're letting them experience everything. Let's find out what works for you and what doesn't work for you. You probably experienced that when you were going through it.
Yep.
You hit some variables that you were like, this definitely isn't the right one for me.
Yeah.
And if we rule out everything that doesn't work and we're only left with one thing, it's tough to argue that that's not the best thing for you.
Yeah.
So that's where we don't rely heavily on launch monitor data. It's all about when the player is using the equipment, how does it feel? Did this make golf easier for you? Did it make it more difficult for you? And that whole thing can be wrapped up in one system, in a kit that can be put in the trunk or put on a plane and taken wherever you go.
Yep. Yeah. Like Max came through driving and he had his kit in his car and it's like,
there you go.
Bro, you can go fit anyone from anywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
that is
it's really
exactly
easy.
it. Yeah.
And then, so you're going to get all these golf coaches, teach them how to be fitters. I'm sure they'll get a commission on anything they sell.
For sure. Yeah.
And
They would operate their own business. They would have their own system.
Like a little franchise.
There you go. Yeah. So we train them up on how to run the system. And it's really just bridging that gap between fitting and instruction to share that a lot of the struggles that players are having that we're trying to fix as golf coaches are caused by equipment that wasn't built right for them.
Right.
And at the foundation of getting better as a golfer, you need to have equipment that allows you to get better.
Yeah.
The number one thing you got to do in golf is make contact with the golf ball. And if your club's built wrong for you, you'll make bad swings and bad moves to make contact with the ball. And then the coach is going to try and fix those things. And a lot of the time not realizing that's the only thing allowing you to make contact with the golf ball.
Yeah.
So giving them the tools to build a golf club, fit a golf club for a player that is going to allow them to work towards a better golf swing, do the work they want to do as a coach with the player. It's like the number one training aid and the number one tool for a coach to be using. It should be the foundation of analyzing what is going on with the player in front of me.
Yeah.
Rule the equipment out and then do the work to get them better.
Yeah. So if somebody wanted to buy an Avoda iron right now, like what would be the process? Because I mean, they can go on what's your guys' website?
VodaGolf.com.
Yeah. So I mean, like they could go to VodaGolf.com and just go do it. Like, does the website have fitters and
For sure, yeah.
all that?
So on the website, if someone already knows their specs, we have just infinite custom options that they can go and put in on there, and we custom build every set to spec.
Yeah.
So every single set and every single order that comes through goes through our department, gets put into the exact specs they need it, and sent out to the customer. If they're not quite sure what their specs are, there's a few options for them. They can go for our online fitting service. So they can fill out an application form, submit the video, answer a few questions, and one of our fitters will actually draft a response for them around what specs they need, why they need it, how it's going to help their game. And then from there, they can order that set. If they still want to know and experience why that set's right for them, we can recommend a set that I know is going to be right for you today. If I sent you that set, you just have to trust that I'm right with that.
Yeah.
And you have to start using it. And you may go, okay, yeah, I really like this, but I don't know why this set's right for me, but it's just working.
Yeah.
The different experience that they're going to get in person, they're going to get the same specs, but they're going to be guided through that process and they're going to hit everything. And once they've ruled out everything and they're left with those specs, they're confident that that's going to help their game get better. So it's either purchase online straight away if someone knows their specs, use our online fitting system if they don't, and if they really want to go and experience the equipment, because we are in very much a try before you buy, get fit industry. It is moving that way.
Yeah.
That would be finding one of our fitting locations and testing out the equipment.
You know what's crazy about like online just fitting in general? So another guy I had on the podcast, he's the owner of a company called Scene. And so I partnered with them. Some of you guys might have seen it, where I had these custom suits and jeans and other things, and they're awesome. I still wear them to this day. But they have like an online AI fitting because they make all their clothes custom to fit. But there's no tailor. So, you upload a picture and it's crazy. Within 60 seconds of doing this AI, it tells you what your specs are. And 98% of the time, it's right. And then if it's not right, you can send it back and they'll fix whatever's not right. And they'll say, okay, now put it on, take a picture. What do you like? What don't you like? And, they'll fix it. But like everything that I ever got, it was just always perfect. I was like, this is crazy that the online stuff and AI is just getting so good that we don't really need to be in person to get this done.
Yeah. And it's an interesting thing that I think, so you have indoor simulators in golf that are coming in, and we think that the whole entire golf game is suddenly going to move inside because we have these simulators that are great fun. The reality is after a while, being outside, being out in the fresh air, being out on a golf course, that's irreplaceable.
No, yeah.
And one thing that is irreplaceable as well is a coach that can guide you through a process of getting better. You can be recommended drills. You can use AI to throw drills your way. Here's the right golf clubs for you. Here's the right drills you should be doing. But that one-to-one relationship of a coach guiding you through bouncing ideas off of and building a golf game, I don't think that's something that's ever going to go away. In the same way that golf courses are always going to be there, no matter how good indoor simulators get, the golf courses are going to be there. So I think that's one unique thing about the golf industry. There's a lot of things we can do with AI to help people get better. But at the end of the day, golf courses are where you go, and they're outside.
Yeah. There's nothing like seeing your actual ball flight. And
just what it does for being outside on a golf course. Like, you remember the COVID period where we're all inside, we're all using indoor sims, but the moment golf courses opened up and you can get back out on a golf course, That's
Yeah.
where we've seen one of the biggest booms in people taking up golf ever.
Yeah.
Because
I
people
was
can
one of those
finally
guys.
get outside. There you go.
I never played till a few years ago. And, you know, it's awesome.
Addictively awesome, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, this is crazy. I don't know why I played baseball. So let's talk about like, okay, so that's what you're doing for coaches on the business side. Let's talk about the consumers because, man, these golf companies have been around so long. And I mean, these are billion-dollar companies. You know, things like, who was it? Was it Callaway that bought Top Golf?
Yeah.
I think. Like, you know, how do you compete with companies that are buying Top Golf and been around forever? And then you got the Titleist of the world and the TaylorMades of the world. And, you know, how do you break through as like a small boutique company competing with those guys who have every pro,
Yeah.
all the marketing budget, they've been around for decades or even a century? Like, how?
We really, really want to help golfers get better at golf. Like our slogan and one of our values is only if you want to get better. So everything we do is about making sure the golfer gets better. We're looking at this from the coaching background, which is help this golfer in front of me get better. It's not just sell them a golf club. So everything we do from an engineering point of view and all the design is from a coach's perspective. And if you add up the handicap of our team, it's a pretty competitive team. We could go take on a lot of people.
When you say your team, are you talking Bryson or are you
No,
talking
no,
like your own like
of
staff?
our staff? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you
Like
guys
if
got some sticks.
We're some golfers. So
Yeah.
we are looking at this from a perspective of how do we get better at golf? How do we help our players get better at golf? We can't outmarket a bad product at our point.
Yeah.
So when we're building equipment, it is this needed in the industry?
Yeah.
Does it exist already? If it exists already, we're going to go buy that and we're going to go play that because I'm not going to waste my time doing something that already exists. Because I'm not going to be able to outcompete the marketing of these companies that are already making something that is really good. I'm going to just go use that.
Yeah.
But when I find something that I really need to help me get better, and this is the same story that Lance mentioned to you with Crank, I'm going to go ahead and make that. Now, if it's terrible, that's why it wasn't needed.
Yeah.
We're not going to sell it.
Yeah.
But if it's really good and it's missing and no one's going there, we exist to fill the gaps in the industry that no one else is going to.
Yeah, because I mean, when I look at the golf industry today, most of it, in my opinion, is marketing. Like, obviously, the clubs today are a lot better than 20 years ago. But I'm like, man, is this new thing? Okay, cool. You know, they all got the new driver. How much better is it actually? You know, I have my Titleist irons and they're great. It's not like I don't like them. But it's like they're the same T100s from however many years they've been running T100s. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, you would, and I'm a marketer by trade. So I love marketing and how they package things, every golf company. I think it's great. But I'm like, is there any innovation to these irons for the last 15? The drivers I could see. But when I look at the irons, I'm like, it's an iron. Like, how much innovation can there actually be?
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I say to a lot of people. It's a chunk of metal at the end of the day. There's only so much you can do to make it better.
Yeah.
What our approach on that is we're not fitting to quick fix the ball flight. So if I can fit you into something today that's going to get you hitting the ball the best you've ever hit it. But if you're moving in a way that you know is limited, you're not swinging how you want to, you know that's going to limit how good you can get. All I've done is just build a training aid that's going to keep you the same.
Yeah.
So if I build a golf club that fixes the ball flight right this second, there's no reason you should change anything. There's no reason to get better. If I build a golf club that matches your anatomy, matches how you're built to swing, even if you don't quite move that way yet, that club's now going to encourage you to move in that direction.
Yeah.
So by practicing with that club and figuring out how to hit good golf shots with that club, you are becoming a better golfer.
Yeah.
So we're building golf clubs to complement the players' golf swings, to get them moving in ways that matches how they're built to move. And that's what our precision fitting system does. It helps reveal what components in the golf club are going to let you move the way you're built to move, not just try and fight the club to create a ball flight and then create bad swing habits off the back of it.
Yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I think your answer to, hey, how we're going to compete with the Titleist and the TaylorMades and all these guys of the world is that we're just going to have a product so good that is so focused on not so much marketing and hype, but just truly, this is better, this is innovative. You're going to tell your friends about it because it's so good, and like that's how it's going to go.
100%. Player experience is everything. So if a player gets better at golf, they tell their buddies. The buddy want to get better at golf as well, and that's what we're here to do. As far as innovation, what we have done with our iron set is create a completely unique iron set designed to the whole entire industry, which is, we've all heard of same length. We've all heard of variable length. These are clubs that pretty much everyone is playing, where the clubs are all changing length. Same length came along to simplify the idea of irons and make everything feel the same, less swings to make, more
Was
consistency.
Bryson like the guy who really made that popular?
Bryson brought back the awareness of same length. Same length is something that's existed for a long, long time. But yeah, he put it back on the map. And,
Yeah, because nobody does that.
For sure. And with Mike Shy and Bryson working together to build these irons and to put that same length concept back in play a few decades ago, that's where we came along and went, okay, what is missing from same length? Because we know same length improves a lot of things against variable length. But some players may struggle with getting the 4-iron in the air if they don't have enough speed. Because a shorter 4-iron that's heavy head, if you don't have enough speed, launch, and spin, you're going to struggle to get the distance out of it.
Got it.
And then some players might not want to set up to a lob wedge that's a 7-iron length. Does that mean that those players should not have access to same length? No. We think 100% of players in the whole entire game should game the benefits of a same length set, but only where it works for them.
Yeah.
So that's where we created the combo length set, which takes the biggest advantages from a variable length set, which is having a 4-iron, a 5-iron, a 6-iron that is long enough and light enough that you can hit it high and far, but also creating that sameness in the scoring clubs, your lob wedge to 8-iron, that you have the consistency of same length set. You have the advantages of lighter head weights in the wedges. And we did it at 9-iron length instead of a 7-iron length. Most people love their 9-iron.
Yeah.
It's a club you grab to practice. So it allows you on those scoring shots into the greens that really, really matter to have a set of clubs that's specifically built to make you as good as possible with that, the advantages from same length. But then also when you're 200 yards out, 190, 200, 220 yards out, you've actually got a 4-iron or a 5-iron that you can still hit in the air and hold a green and get optimal carry from.
And that's what I got with you guys was the variable length. Well, it's same length from, combo, lob to, 8?
Yeah, same length from lob wedge to 8-iron
Yep.
at a 9-iron length, then 7, 6, 5, 4 progressively longer.
Yeah. So do you think the science backs that same length is going to make you more consistent? It's going to make you better?
Yeah, if you have less to do.
Yeah. I've always wondered that, because I came from baseball. I use one bat. It's like, I got to hit different pitches, and it's not like I go switch bats mid-at-bat because I'm in 2 strikes. Mm-hmm. But then I get to golf, and I'm like, why is every club so different? Like, I feel like I need a new swing for my lob wedge versus my 6-iron versus my 4-iron. Like, they're all so different.
And that's the reality. When they are all different, you do have to make a different swing with each one to be good. And, I mean, touching on Bryson for a second, is he playing a full same length set? No. He's playing same length irons. His woods get longer. They're variable length woods.
Yeah.
So at some point in the set, you are going to have to make the set get longer if you want to achieve the optimal launch, spin, and carry. The problem is when other companies have created same length before, it's at a 7-iron length, it's all the way through to a 4-iron. That's how it's built. That's how it's played.
Just one size fits all.
Yeah, and a lot of people hit it and go, I love the fact that they're the same length, but my 4-iron's not doing what I need it to, and I can't hit a lob wedge that's this long.
Yeah,
maybe
I
they
struggled
can get
with
used
it.
to it.
Yeah, I tried the same length 4-iron. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah, and if you have the speed and you have the force and you can hit it high enough, and Bryson clearly can, you gain the advantages of it the whole way through your irons. But if you don't, it doesn't mean you shouldn't have access to those advantages. And that's what we wanted to do with combo length, is give 100% of players the ability to benefit from a same length set, but not have to have the downsides of it if they don't have enough speed to make it work.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So has there been any innovation in irons in a while? I mean, that's probably, again, it's a chunk of metal. It's how you put it together and what it does.
Well,
but
you guys,
done that.
So the same length and making it variable to a degree is definitely an innovation. I have one of the heads right here. So this is a 7-iron, and then you've got this 62 here, which is the lie angle.
Yeah, so that's one of the heads out of our fitting system.
Yep. So walk me through, a couple of things. One, what is the logo?
So that's actually Hebrew for precision.
Okay.
So we wanted to have some meaning behind the golf clubs. And the whole message was getting better at golf and having precision in your golf game.
Okay.
And without writing the word precision on a golf club,
or
putting a little dart emoji on a golf club, we had to come up with something that had something unique about it. Okay. But also we wanted the branding to reflect the golf club you trust.
Okay.
We love.
So are you guys Jewish? Is that where it comes from?
We're not actually. No, from a Christian background.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the original language of the Bible, it was something that we were really interested in sharing on the golf club. And when we were looking up different ways to present the word precision, and the actual Hebrew word is diuk for that, and it just looked perfect, and it worked on the golf club.
Good, I like it even more now.
And then we had to name the company.
I've got a bunch of Bibles and everything always right here.
So we wanted to name the company with something that aligned with that. So we actually had our logo before we had the company name. And then it was about, okay,
So what does Avoda mean?
So Avoda means work, worship, and service.
Okay.
So
in Hebrew?
In Hebrew as well, yeah. So there's
more
multiple
now.
spellings for the word, but at the end of the day, the logo on there, it just reminds us that there is more to life than golf clubs.
So it means
And
work, worship.
Work, worship, and service. So it's a reminder that golf's not life.
Okay. Dude, I love
there's
that.
precision in the golf clubs.
I got a lot of Christians, because we have a Christian nonprofit for entrepreneurs. We actually have a huge event coming up in 3 weeks. Actually, Max's dad spoke at my last one. And really that's part of what we teach them. It's like, guys, like, dude, running our business is great, but man, like if this is it,
yeah,
we got problems. You know, we got family, we got life, there's eternity. There's so much more than just business.
100%.
So I love that.
Appreciate it.
What else is like innovative about the iron itself? Or I don't even know if you'd call it, what do you call this? The head?
Yeah,
The
that's
club
the
head?
iron head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that's interesting about it?
So I mean that head right there is what we would call a cavity back design.
Okay.
So that allows you to have the visuals of what you would call more of a tour inspired, player inspired head, but still gain the forgiveness. So the CG is pretty low. We've spread it wide. It's about as forgiving as you're going to get inside of a forged head, but still looking like you've got a club that's not going to do crazy stuff off the face.
Yeah.
Looks
Got
like
it.
a club you can have precision with.
Yeah. And then you guys got them in different colors too, right?
Yeah. Right now we offer a chrome set and a black set.
Yep. I love it.
And we offer that in the same length set the whole way through, or the combo length set. And that's why in the fitting system, we do have the ability for players to test same length against combo length head to head like you did.
Yep.
Because a player really wants to gain the benefits of same length and they come in and say, I really want same length. We want you in same length. Let's find out.
But
let's make sure you get the right version of it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So we let them test the same length 4-iron against the combo length and the same length lob wedge against the combo length lob wedge to find out which one actually works best for you.
Yeah. So with that being said, back to kind of like the business side of all of this. Yeah. I mean, what is the future for you guys? I mean, is it to be the number one iron in the world? Is it to be the best selling iron in the world? Is it to eventually get into drivers and putters and be a full on company making golf balls? Like what do you envision?
Honestly, at the center of everything is just the message of help players get better at golf. So right now we need to get accessible. So we are with guys like Max, and we have a lot of other people on the team now across the US, in the UK. We actually have a network being set up right now in Thailand and Japan. So we want people to access our systems, go through a fitting system. It's a very unique experience that doesn't exist anywhere else.
Yep.
It's going to expose players to equipment in ways they didn't. It's going to make them think differently about equipment. One of our guarantees is after a fitting, you will think about equipment differently. It's going to change your perspective on the importance of it. So the phase one for us is get accessible. Allow people to experience what we offer, hit the golf clubs, help them get better at golf. And then it's raising the bar of that network. We want to make sure that once that player has been fitted for the golf clubs, that they actually have someone there that can help guide them through the process of getting better with those clubs.
Yeah.
So that's where we are looking for coaches to join the team. And we're not ruling out anyone. Anyone that cares about helping golfers get better, we want to talk to you. Those are the people we want to have involved. Like one of our core values is only if you want to get better. And that goes for the people, that's our customers. If you want to get better, this is the place to come. That's for people who want to work with us and work inside the company. If you want to get better, this is the place to go. So at the center of everything is just, if people are getting better at golf, we're getting what we want out of this business.
What are your other core values?
So problem solvers.
Okay.
We're trying to find out what's missing in the industry. What doesn't exist that needs to exist? How do we solve problems out there using equipment? How do we solve the mission of getting a golfer better through equipment? So that's one of them. Do the work, earn the reward is one of the values. Like there's the Chris Williamson podcast where he talks about the only thing that's doing the thing is doing the thing. That message.
Pretty simple.
I mean, that goes for getting better at golf. If you don't do the work, you don't get better at golf. And that's a few of them. And high standards is one of them. Like we are a younger brand. We are a younger company. So
how old are you, by the way?
28.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're coming from slightly behind in terms of first impressions.
Yeah.
So we have high standards around our equipment. We have high standards around the service we offer, around the people that get involved with us. Once someone spends time with us and sees what we have to offer, the idea of age goes out the window. But if we don't have high standards about ourselves and the way we present the company and the equipment we make, that's something we are never going to be able to get ahead.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one of them. And only if you want to get better is just
Yeah.
just sums it all up.
I've heard that at least 10 times this interview.
Yeah,
So
and we gotta
I
thank
can
Mike
tell
Shy
you
for that
truly
one.
believe it.
Yeah, and that's a Mike Shy saying. That's on a plaque in the wall at his academy. He always gets asked, "Should I do this golf drill after a lesson?" It's like, so I should be doing this, and he's like, "Only if you want to get
Was he
better."
a mentor to you?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Mike's created, and to Bryson, I mean, Mike created an academy, a facility that if you can't get better there and you can't figure it out there, you don't get it anywhere.
You might as well quit golf.
Yeah,
You ain't gonna figure
so
it out here.
He set up an academy, and the way he presents things, he's not there to tell a player this is how you do it. He's there to expose players to everything, and they can find out for themselves what works and what doesn't work. And that was the influence in how we put together the system.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mike's a key mentor in this. He's part of the company. Without the facility he created, I don't have a company. If I didn't have the workshop that he put together, the tools that he offered, the training aids, the clubs, everything, I couldn't have gone up there every day and just constantly pursue trying to get better at golf.
Yeah. What's your guys' plan with this? I mean, obviously you guys are being innovative. You guys are young. How do you plan to market what's going on? Because, obviously we're doing a podcast right now, so we're reaching people that way. YouTube golf is exploding. So you see all these YouTube golf guys, Bryson himself being a YouTube golfer now, that being a big thing. You see the Live Tour versus the PGA Tour, and clearly you guys are, Bryson on Live has got you guys exposure. And at the same time, these pros already have like deals with these other companies, so trying to get them to switch. And I can imagine you guys as like a startup, bootstrapped company aren't out here trying to throw all this money at these guys.
Yeah. For us, if any of them end up in the golf clubs, it's because they found what helps them get best at golf. So we know if we can continue to make innovative products that solve problems that no one else in the industry is solving, it's a matter of time before higher level players want access to that.
Yeah, even if they don't get paid to do it. It's like, man, I could make way more money just winning.
There you go. And that's the reality. There's so much money in the professional game now that a lot of companies can't pay them enough to use the equipment anymore. And players, there's more and more free agents appearing. There's more and more players saying, no,
like
I
what
want to play
were these average deal sizes? I mean, obviously like the Rorys and the Scotties and those guys are going to get multi-million-dollar deals. But I got to imagine even just normal tour guys, most of them aren't signing million-dollar deals. I mean, they're probably signing $100,000 deals, $200,000 deals. Like, what are they signing?
That is a good question. I don't know the numbers on that one.
Yeah.
I've never been offered one myself.
I wouldn't know.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, like, because most of these guys, in my opinion, right, it's like if you're, let's just say number 100 and you're not this guy. Most of these guys don't have big social media followings. They're not like, you wouldn't recognize them in the street. You'd recognize the guys that we just, you'd recognize anybody who's got a first name basis. If you can't be a Bryson, a Scotty, a Rory, or a Tiger, you ain't getting really that much money, right? So, I don't know, but either way, right? Your point is, even for those guys who are in the back of the PGA Tour, because there's only 125, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, so it's like, to them, I mean, if you get a better set of clubs and you turn down, I don't know, 100,000, a couple 100,000, one tournament win is like way more than that.
And the reality is those guys are out there because they want to win. They want to be the best. So anything they can do to get better, there's very few of them. I mean, there's arguments in recent years that there's people will take the money side instead of the golf side of it. But
well, if Liv is going to offer you $50 million, well, yeah, I'll take that too.
Yeah, there's a certain amount of money. There's a bar for everyone.
We're not talking like hundreds of thousands.
Everyone has a number.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they're all out there because they want to win and because they want to get better. And if they can find a product that helps them do better, then most of these guys want to test it.
Have you tried to like partner with like a company like Liv, who is clearly looking for partnerships? Like I've seen them sign golf YouTubers. I've seen them like really try to scoop up emerging things.
Yeah, as of right now, not directly companies and organizations like that. Like right now, again, the foundation of everything for us is the golf pro. Players trust their golf pro. Yeah. So if their golf pro says, look, this
so your main attack is get fitters, get golf pros. They're going to spread the awareness way more than anyone else.
And it's building it in proportion to what we can handle. We had some opportunities last year to work with some other big time players, and we had to say no because we weren't in a position as a company to handle what the demand that would have brought. And also I didn't have the time to go and spend with them because I needed to be in the day-to-day hustle and bustle of the company. So for us, it is managing our opportunities in proportion to the growth we can handle and how we want to do things.
Well, even now I'm thinking in hindsight, like the plan is working because, Max started fitting, he hits me up, and then here we are.
There you go.
Right? Like it is working.
Yeah.
Clearly.
You want to get better.
Yeah, I want to get better. I'm
you
like,
go.
dude, I'll do anything to get better. I'm not aligned to any one thing. I'm like, dude, give me a crank driver. I'll try it out.
Yeah.
Give me these. Like, let's go.
For sure.
So you had mentioned, right, you were a coach and you were also trying to go play pro and get your tour card and go do that thing. My guess is, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're not like as focused on that anymore, right?
You'd be surprised.
Okay.
So again, every single thing that's happened, the reason I got into coaching was because I was trying to find unique ways to help myself get better.
Okay.
And then other people saw me get better. And I had injuries and I fixed those injuries through what I was doing from a golf swing point of view. And they asked questions like, what did you do? So I was like, oh, this is what I did. And next thing I know, I'm coaching.
Yep.
So that was a complete accident getting into coaching in the first place. But the whole thing was about me trying to make myself better.
Yeah.
And then I'd got to a point with the coaching where, again, that I hit that wall of I can only work so many hours and I can only charge so much before I price people out.
Yeah.
And the people I really want to help can't afford what I would need to charge. And I don't want to get a heart attack and burn myself out of this working more hours in a week than I have to give. And I want to have a life. So for me, and my passion was playing. And I really, really wanted to take what I'd learned and pursue playing. So I scrapped the in-person side of my business. I shut it down. Went away from the studio I was working at, moved everything online. So I had the freedom to go where I needed to. And then it was about get better at golf. And that was what actually led me out initially to go and see Mike in California. It was meant to be a 1-month trip. Originally, it was just a 1-month trip. And 3 years later, I was still there. And it was about getting myself better at golf. The way I found to get better at golf was I started building myself golf clubs to help me get better. And now other people wanted those golf clubs. And now we sell golf clubs. So at the core of everything is I really want to get as good as I possibly can in this game.
Yeah.
Whatever level that leaves me at, let's see what happens. So one of my own personal missions and one of the missions of our company is to get things set up in a way that I can get back to pursuing that. If I'm playing golf and I'm out using the equipment, I'm going to think of ways to make the equipment better and we can sell better product.
Yeah.
So
You're the test dummy.
Exactly that. So yeah, I want to pursue that journey again.
Okay.
And that's what we're trying to this year, get things in a place that it frees me up to do that.
So I could probably speak on this better than anyone because, when I started my business, doing real estate and everything else, I was still playing. Mm-hmm. And, obviously my product wasn't like helping my play in that way, but, I played professionally for 3 years, not making any money. I played professionally for 8 years, but the last 3 years was when I started getting into business and real estate. And the business took off like each year, and it just kept becoming harder and harder for me to focus on playing.
You in, yeah.
Because this thing is growing so fast and I'm making money and like I can see that this is going to be like my long-term future. Like the business is going to be the thing. And so I ended up retiring when I was 28. And that was like the last year I played and, went full-time into business at that point. So, for me though, I will say I was burnt out of the game at that point. I had already played professionally for 8 years and I'm like, I'm good. Mm-hmm. I've played thousands of games. Like I'm good. So I think it's just interesting. And also too, golf is a different sport where you can play a really long time. Mm-hmm. Baseball has a lifespan. It's like, man, once you get your 30s, like, dude, you're out.
You got a lot of injuries by that point.
But you're also just teams look at you, you're done.
Yeah.
The older you get, everyone knows baseball's lifespan it's over. As you get in your 30s, like only if you're elite are you still in the game at 30. You're not a young prospect anymore. Teams don't give you an opportunity. Mm-hmm. In golf, you always have an opportunity because you just pay your way into tournaments and do what you can. So I think it's cool that you're still pursuing the dream because that will make the company better. Yeah. And as an athlete who's competitive, it's like, man, dude, like I want to see what I'm fully capable of and I want to give it my all until they tell me I can't. Or until I just lose the love of that side of my life.
Yeah, for sure. And for us to continue innovating and creating product that's really going to help golfers, I've got to be out using the product.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, what's funny? That's why I invest in real estate today. So, I started investing in real estate and, we flipped hundreds and hundreds of homes. And so I built all these things for me. So this is actually probably the better analogy. I built lead generation for me. I built CRMs for me. I built SOPs, guides, and everything else. And so everyone's like, dude, teach us how to do it. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just give you what I built for me. I'll just give you the guides. I'll teach you the scripts. I'll give you the CRM. I'll give you the leads. And that's the business now.
Yep.
And I have to stay actively flipping and wholesaling and buying real estate to keep making that product better for all of the people, the thousands of people that use it.
100%. And that's the same thing on my part here from the coaching point of view. Like what I want to share with coaches is what helped me scale my business.
Yeah.
And in order for me to continue innovating in that space and in the golf club space, I've got to continue doing the things that taught me that in the first place.
What's your goal for like a coach? What should they make? You know, these, you know, obviously there's big coaches that can make, you know, 7 figures, but like, you know, your typical golf pro, you know?
I think the potential to help as many golfers as possible, you can't be a single coach helping every single golfer. So having a network of coaches that can help golfers get better. If I want to help more golfers, I need coaches that are going to help that happen. So it's like if you want to get more involved in real estate, you got to have people doing those moves for you as well.
Yep.
So what the opportunity we bring for coaches is the ability to scale their business ultimately infinitely. If they're so busy that they are selling a lot of golf clubs, doing a lot of fittings, and they are now back to the point where they're like, I don't have any time left. Bring in another coach.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, if you repeat that
Get
process,
your own business.
all of a sudden you have a golf academy.
Yeah.
So it gives coaches the opportunity to build. It gives them that catalyst to try and scale their business into something that can be an academy if they want that.
Yeah, and you go from just being a golf coach to like being an owner.
Yeah. And then they got to learn the business side of that. Which is why they tune in on here for you.
Yeah, then they got to learn how to hire people, sales, marketing, pay people.
And that's stuff we want to help provide as well. You know, the
Yeah.
lessons we've learned to do those things in my own business and what we're doing, if they want to know, how do I do that as well?
Yeah.
You know, that's the stuff we want to be able to provide. But right now it is like, hey, come test out the golf clubs we have to offer.
Yeah.
And see what we're doing.
How is the golf business as like a profit margin business? Because like I know you guys are probably taking all your money and just reinvesting it back into the company and trying to hire people and grow and all these things. But like, you know, clubs themselves, I imagine that most of the money is spent in R&D and development. And then, you know, at that point, it's metal. Like it's not like the super expensive thing. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, look, there's good money in golf clubs. How we choose to use that to help the industry is a different question.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's direct-to-consumer companies that are slashing prices to give the product to the golfer, and that's great for an intro into the game, getting the game more accessible to people who might not be able to afford the prices of the full experience. Great. You know, that gets them golf clubs, that gets them a premium product, they can go ahead and play golf. But it skips out the coach who made sure that club was correct for the person.
Yeah.
It skips out that fitting process.
It's the budget club.
You do a lot of sales through online and through retail, and all of a sudden you have no margin left because you built such a huge
you paid
corporation.
out all these different vendors and people.
So we want to kind of sit in the middle of that and give the opportunity for the golf professionals to make some money.
Yeah.
And help people.
Because you got to pay them, you know, and all those things. So with that, would you guys say you're a premium priced club?
From the offerings we have, I mean, you can get a set anywhere from, you know, if you wanted to go on our warehouse and find a set that we won't sell as a, you know, it might be a, you know, the slightest mark on a club or something that we won't send out, that will go through the warehouse. You might get a set for $1,000.
Yeah.
All the way up to, if you go for a set of Tour ADs, graphite design, iron shafts, and the Bulge face, you might be spending $7,000 plus. So it really depends on what you fit into, what you want to invest in your golf game. But as far as getting fit into a set, like the set you got fit into the other day, that's not outpriced on anything that you would get anywhere else. We sit right in the middle of the market from a pricing point of view. I don't want to price people out of getting better at golf.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't want to price coaches out of being able to help.
Yeah.
You know, cut them out of that part of the business.
Yeah. One thing I always tell people is, especially when they're starting businesses or anything else, everybody is scared to charge more. And I always tell them, I'm like, look, this is not like a selfish or greedy thing to charge more. Like a couple of things happen when you charge more. Number one, you could pay people better, right? You can pay your employees more because you're not operating on razor thin margins. You can invest more back into the product and give people a better product. So it's like, if I charge someone more for coaching, I can hire coaches to actually coach them one-on-one and give them better leads and better services. But if I try to slash prices and make them so low, I literally cannot, it's just not possible.
And that's the tough part as a coach is there a line that you get to when you start charging more? that you really do price out the people you want to help get better. The people you want to help get better at golf, at the end of the day, they need golf clubs. And if you can provide them with the clubs that help them get better, you now get that revenue. That's not gone to a retail store somewhere else. That's not gone to someone that has built golf clubs for your player that you didn't have any influence over that. And maybe those are going against what you're trying to do. So it allows coaches to keep their rates to help players get better at golf, but create the revenue from other ways that aren't pricing out people who really want to get better.
So do you think you'll never do retail?
It's not a never. It has to be done in the right way, as long as the player gets better as a result of
Yeah,
it.
of course.
Only if it helps players get better is the answer to that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So when I just look at the company, right, you guys are like young and scrappy and, trying to, just make a dent in like these behemoths. Mm-hmm. Do you plan to like raise money to try and accelerate this, or are you bootstrapping it? What are you going to do?
I mean, that's conversations. At the core of everything is make sure we make good golf clubs. If we make good golf clubs, people are going to want those golf clubs. It's going to scale. And that's the core of everything. So we've got a lot of, foundations to put in place as a company. We've had opportunities to push buttons that would have made us a lot more money, but it might have also crushed us at the same time. So for us, it's building a solid team of people around us that really, really want to see the mission of the company through. Yeah. And then we can start hitting those buttons.
And how many people do you guys have now?
Just over 10 employees right now.
Okay.
Which for inside of a year is, that I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And then if you had to predict a year from now, what does the company look like?
What does it look like? We're accessible. Our goal within a year is to have it to where anyone's within at least 2 to 4 hours from an Avoda location to go get fit for golf clubs.
Okay.
So that might be 50 to 100 accounts across the US.
These are the coaches and fitters.
These are the places you can go and actually test the equipment. Yeah.
Yep.
As far as as the internal side of the company, just having an understanding of when we need to add in more as we scale. Like building a solid team as the foundation for each department to be led in the right way, but also knowing when we need more people. That's what we're trying to. That's the thing we need to learn before we start pressing buttons to scale. We need to know how we're going to handle that scaling when we do it.
What do you think is the biggest bottleneck right now?
People. It's always people.
But like, what people are you lacking at the moment?
We are a smaller company. We are a smaller team. My brother always summarizes it really well. When we're a smaller company, you're playing a big cog.
Yeah, everybody's playing a lot of roles.
Yeah, so it's finding the people that are willing to do the extra work, roll up their sleeves is one of our values. Right now, to scale a company, we're going to be doing more often longer days than you might think the normal job is. So having people that are willing to go, you know what, I'm going to roll up my sleeves. Right now, more often than not, throughout the week, we're going to be doing that more days than we're not going to be doing that. So it's having people that are comfortable with doing that. That's going to help us scale.
Got it. Do you think that, and this is just me having gone through this, you think you're going to eventually start to get more specialists who, so you're not all spread thin?
100%. We've already brought in a few, like, kind of from a department head's point of view, brought people in with experience in those areas already. Like, that is where we are putting a lot of our money right now, is into the people to lead the departments. We want strong people, strong leaders that have done this before.
Yeah. Right now, what would you say like the percentage of sales are? Are they coming from fittings? Or are they just people just finding the website because they see people and they're like, dude, we're just buy set?
It's now we're becoming more accessible. It is moving more towards the in-person side of things. But at the end of the day, without online sales, we don't exist in the first place. So we're not going to just suddenly shut the website off. We're going to keep that going. Yeah. But it's providing that online fitting experience so that if someone is buying through other website, they know they're getting golf clubs that they can trust. Yeah. But yeah, we are at least kind of probably 70-30, 60-40 in favor of online sales still.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys will do this because I don't know that it fits making golfers better, but it definitely fits making golfers cooler. I was telling Lance at Crank, like, man, it'd be tight if you guys had like, because he's like, dude, we don't update our drivers. Like, they're just so good. Like, we've had the same one now for years. And ironically, he just did do one update, but like, instead of refreshing it every year with a new design like everyone else, he's like, dude, it's so good. Why? Yeah. I was like, well, at least like do some special edition ones. Like do some cool limited ones. Like I'd want a limited one. I buy stupid limited stuff all the time. Like I saw your swag head covers. Like I have so many swag head covers and so many random things. It's awesome. Yeah. I love seeing all these drops, and I'm just like, I don't know what that company's revenues are. I don't know what they're doing, but I love it. I think it's cool.
Swagger doing good.
Yeah.
Swagger
So
in a good place. Yeah.
yeah, but their business
are,
is more design, right? Like they have core products, and then they're just so good at pumping out drops.
for sure.
Are you guys gonna do anything like that?
So we did some of our rose gold drops. So
Yeah.
we did our irons in a rose gold finish. They look awesome. They were pretty cool. We did the occasional drop of those, one set sale at a time, just like making it pretty exclusive on those. And then we have our bulge face irons, which we released earlier this year. The first drop of those was due for June this year. And when we put that out in January, we didn't think we'd sell out of that batch of the drop, and we have. So the next drop planned is September for that. So the bulge face irons right now we are doing as more of a limited drop.
Yeah. Tell me about that, because we talked about that a lot with Lance at Crank and how the face is curved. And he's like, this is why you're going to hit it straighter. I'm like, all right. And then, now that I'm like dialed in with my shaft and everything, I can see it. I'm like, dang, this is straight. And my mishits aren't OB anymore.
Yeah.
Like, how does that work with irons?
Makes it all go straighter, yeah. A flat face doesn't go as straight as a curved face.
Yeah.
So,
why not just do that for everyone out of curiosity?
So there is a point from a speed point of view where it becomes a non-negotiable. If you are a higher club head speed player, bulge on your golf clubs is a non-negotiable. There is so much to gain from it. And in a game where the tiniest, one shot's the difference from a FedEx Cup point of view, one shot is the difference between a lot of money.
Yeah.
You can find the tiniest games at the highest level in the game. That is going to help you a lot. There is a point where if you don't have that level of speed, you're not going to see a 5% gain. You might see a 0.5% gain. So it will help everybody get better, but the faster you are, the more it's going to help you. Like Max said, you're a higher club head speed player.
Yeah.
As soon as you hit the crank that had more bulge on it than a normal driver does, ball goes straighter.
Yep.
And you'll see that same experience from an iron point of view as well.
Got it. Okay. So for you guys, I mean, that seems like an innovation, because I don't really know that anyone else is doing that.
So that's the funny story on it. About, I think, 25, 30 years ago, there was some kind of infomercial irons called the Controller Roll and Bulge irons.
Okay.
And they did look like more of a game improvement style club, and that might be why it didn't catch on, because it was looked at as a gimmick game improvement thing. But we can't claim to be the first that did that, because it has existed. With
but it didn't catch.
It didn't catch. But with Bryson trying to find ways to hit it straighter, he obviously, the crank driver with more curvature has helped him a lot. And being around Mike when we were out there, Mike goes, have you ever thought about putting bulge on an iron? So it was like, okay, let's give it a go. And that's what we did, the 2 test clubs, flat club and a curve club.
How did you build the curve club? You just freaking
just
sanded it?
Yeah,
like, what'd you do?
That's a funny story. So when the first topic of that came up, Mike went inside and took one of the raw heads we used to build clubs with and just put it on the bench grind and started trying to...
just curve it.
Yeah, curve them in. And he hit some of them and was like, okay, yeah, this actually could work. So then our mission was make one. So we CNC'd a curve-faced head, and we did an identical flat-face head, and he went about hitting them, and immediately was like, okay, yeah, this goes straighter. Let's make a full set of these. And that's where it kicked off.
And that's what he's using right now.
That's what he's still got on the bag right now, yeah.
Is it the original set?
He's got the same ones from before the Masters last year.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
In a world where, what do normal golfers, they change their irons like
a
lot.
And that's a good thing with his ones being 3D printed. It's a very firm metal that they made out of. So
It's just-
they are going to wear better than a lot of clubs will. The downside to that is you have to make them very specific to what that player needs. So it's not a case of, okay, we need a lie angle tweak here, let's just go bend it a couple of degrees and strengthen the lofts a bit. It's like, we got a whole another set to build.
How was it 3D printing those? Like, I mean, I know that 3D printing is becoming more prevalent now. Like, I would assume you don't do it now because it's either more expensive or slower.
It's a great way to rapid prototype clubs. We had no intention of taking clubs to market through that process. Main reason being we wanted to use premium materials. Like we use a 1025 carbon steel in our heads.
So you can't do that 3D
forging.
printed?
Not at this point. Not how we would want to. And then it is also a time-consuming process and an expensive process. So if we were to bring that to market, again, it would just be one that it limits what we can do in the fitting side of things. Because if we want to go and change a lie angle for a player, we use a club as a training aid. We can change lie angle to encourage swing changes, But then once those are made, we want to just back off of it a little bit. So we can go to an extreme. The problem is if you do that through that process, through a metal like a stainless steel head, if you made it from that, it's not going to be as easy to bend. You won't be able to move it through those extreme ranges to use it as a coaching tool.
Yeah.
So for us, it was building equipment, building clubs out of a metal that we could actually do what we needed to do in the process with.
I love it. Well, dude, I could talk about technology all day, but I just love, first off, I think the biggest thing I love is the name, now that I know what it means. Second off, I just love like the gritty story. And I also love that you guys are literally, it's one thing to start a business, and in most businesses you're not competing against massive companies. When I teach people how to go buy a house, it's like, dude, yeah, do hedge funds and stuff, buy houses. Yeah. But you're not really competing with these guys, but to go head to head with billion-dollar companies and be like, nah, like our stuff is better than yours scientifically. There's more care, and you guys can spend however much money you want to spend every year on R&D, but I'm the R&D,
yeah.
And like it's going to be better, and the players are choosing to do it, and we don't even have to pay them anything. Like that says a lot.
Yeah, and it's not to say that that golf clubs have got so good. There's only so much left that can be done with them, and all of these companies build amazing golf clubs, and I still choose to use woods from. I'm not building woods right now because Crank makes such great woods. Why would I build something when they already build something so good?
Yeah.
Same thing from a putter point of view. I've got a putter I love.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just do a copy of it for the sake of selling it. It's not how we do business. So it's like, unless I need a putter that does better than what I've already got, I'm not planning on making that anytime soon.
Yeah, you're like, the putters right now that exist are pretty good.
Yeah, I mean the unique difference for us isn't just in what the golf club we're making. It's the experience a player's going to get when they go through the fitting process. It's going to completely change the way they think about equipment, and that's the thing we do differently.
Yeah.
We're not trying to compete and make a dent in these companies. We're just trying to offer a different perspective to what golf clubs can do for your golf game.
You know what's funny? I was just thinking about this. Like, I am using, the Crank woods now. I'm going to be using the Avoda irons, and then I have a lab putter. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't have...
Saw it in your office.
Yeah. Like, I don't have, like, any... it's all the small, gritty companies that are, like, trying to take on the golf. And I just truly believe their products are better. Like, I feel it, and I've felt all the traditional products, and I just think they're better. And it's like, to me, it makes sense. Like, for you guys to even exist has to mean that whatever the heck you sell has to be really, really good.
And that's the high standard we hold ourselves to.
Yeah. So I think it's awesome. So if anyone wants to get fitted, or just buy direct, what is it, Avoda Golf?
Vodagolf.com, Avoda Golf on Instagram. Go online, go through the fitting process online. I'd recommend that anyone who wants to find out what specs they need to be, go put in an online submission.
Okay.
One
guys,
of our reps will get back to them with the right set for them.
Yeah. We'll link to it down below. You guys will see me on Instagram I can't say like hitting bombs. That's like for the driver. But you'll see me throwing darts.
There you go.
For sure.
Precision.
Yep. You'll just, bam, just landing right next to the pin. So you'll see me throwing some darts with my new clubs. And are you active online at all?
Yeah, I'm Tom Bailey Golf. That's my Instagram. And,
okay.
I'm not heavily on it anymore. It's something I've
busy being a business guy.
Yeah. It's something I try to not be on too much anyway, but I definitely don't have the time for that now. But it's something I want to share some content on my own platform and start sharing a little bit about what I'm doing day to day and what I did as a coach and what I'm trying to do as a golfer as well. So
yeah,
the plan is from a content creation point of view to bring someone to the team to share a little bit more about what we do day to day.
I love it. Well, guys, go check all those things out. Tom, thanks for being here, man.
Appreciate it.
And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.